This video is going to take a look at the Google Expeditions app. This is an AR and VR app that allows you to lead virtual tours with your classroom through both augmented and virtual reality space. This is only available on Android and iOS devices, and it's easy to get by downloading it from whichever store is on your operating system. So here I've downloaded the Expeditions app, and I'm going to go ahead and tap on it to get started. Inside of the app, there's three different spaces at the bottom: Discover, Library, and Class. Discover is where you can find new VR and AR stuff already created by the community. Your Library is a space for not only downloaded content that you can use in your class, but you can also create your own tours if you have Google Tour Creator. If you're interested in Google Tour Creator, the link is shown here at the bottom of the screen, and you can learn more about that in some other videos located on the Mesa Public Schools EdTech website. Last but not least, the class option allows you to guide your students through these virtual tours in VR and augmented reality space. And at the end of this video, we're going to cover this more in depth and show you how to set your own up. So to begin, we're going to jump into Discover, and you can simply search and use the filtering options here at the top to find different augmented and virtual reality spaces. By finding one you like, simply tap on it and hit download to view or guide the tour. Now I've already grabbed some examples here, so we're going to jump into my library to take a look at those. If I go to downloads, you'll notice I've downloaded some AR and VR spaces in here that we can interact with. If I click on this first one, American Museum of Natural History, this is a VR tour of the American Museum of Natural History. And I have three options. If I click view, I can simply view the tour on my cell phone without any other extra stuff. So clicking and dragging around allows me to view the different spaces inside of the Natural History Museum. At the bottom, I have a section that'll tell me about different pieces of the museum, give me some good questions to ask as a teacher, and there's also some points of interest that you can access by simply tapping on it and learning more about that specific piece inside of the museum. You also can see here at the top, if at any time you wanted to change between a guided tour or to use an augmented reality, virtual reality headset, you can use that in the top right. So we're going to jump out now and go into an augmented reality tour, which we're going to take a look at. Now, to look at an augmented reality tour, let's get an example. So I've downloaded dinosaurs here, and I'm going to go ahead and tap on the tour. To get started, I'm going to hit View in AR. One thing to note, this works best when an area is well lit. So I'm going to go ahead and move my phone in a circle and kind of fill in that space where I'd like this item to appear. Once I've done that, I simply tap and the object will appear on screen. Moving around with your phone will allow you to see the different areas and aspects of the image. So I'm going to move around here and take a look at T-Rex. Another thing to note is if you swipe up, you get information about the item as well. If I wanted to, I can actually switch to the next section and it'll generate a new augmented reality example. In the next video, we're going to take a look at leading a guided tour in your classroom. Now we're going to take a look at leading a guided tour in Google Expeditions. To begin, on my teacher device, I'm going to go to Guide, and I'm going to click on Get Started. I'll select the tour I'd like to choose. So let's start off with dinosaurs. And once I've selected it, I'm going to hit Guide. Now it's important to note that you will need to be on the same Wi-Fi network as your students in order for them to access your guided tour. Here I've got a code available, so I'm going to hit Got It. Then, when my tour is ready to get started, I'm going to hit Start. My students will hit Join and say Join. Now, the teacher and students are inside of the tour. Students are able to drag around and view the image, and teachers are able to talk about those different pieces of augmented or virtual reality. If I want to, at any time, I can reset in the top right, and I can also see how many students are currently logged in to my tour. If I swipe to the next item and hit Start, it will also change it for my students. and they're able to look at that item in augmented reality. Now let's take a look at a virtual reality guided tour. Now we're going to take a look at leading a VR tour inside of Google Expeditions. To get started on my teacher device, I'm going to make sure my students are on the same Wi-Fi as I am. I'm going to hit Get Started. Then I'm going to select the tour I'd like to lead. Once I've selected my tour, I'll hit Guide, and it'll prompt the students to join my expedition. On the student device, I'll click Join and hit Join. And it'll let me know that I've joined and I need to wait for my guide. As a teacher, I can now hit Start and start leading the expedition. On the student devices, it will prompt students to put their phone inside of their Google Cardboard viewer. However, and this is for the best experience for them to put it in the Cardboard viewer. However, once the students put it in the Cardboard viewer, they should be able to view and interact with the VR space. So now you can see as a teacher, I have my device here, and as a student, as I look around, it shows me where my student is looking. So if I wanted to divert their attention over to the American bison, on the student device, they would receive an arrow that prompts them to look in that direction. And as I move through the tour, I can swipe to the next section and hit Start, and it'll bring my students with me. I can also see in the top right, it'll tell me how many students have joined, and if I choose the squiggle icon, I can also make some interesting points that the students can see, and I can let them know where they need to look and what they need to look at. And again, on the teacher device, you can see where those students are looking. The final piece of Google Expeditions that can be really fun and exciting is if you're using an augmented reality expedition. As a teacher, you're able to go to the top left and click on these three lines and click on Help with Markers. Then you're able to download and print off these AR markers, which you can place around your physical classroom, and as students move from station to station, they'll see a new augmented reality item in each of those stations. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.